Everyone, and welcome back. Today I'm going to share this black glue project with you. It's along the same lines of the resist glue video that I did earlier in the week, so I will link that in the cards and in the description below if you want to check that out. So I didn't want to just repeat myself through the entire video of a video I already did, but basically we're just going to do a glue resist watercolor painting with liquid glue and a little bit of black acrylic paint. So you just open up the glue, and I'm going to show you just a little bit of paint will do just fine. You don't have to use a ton of your acrylic paint. This is just about a full glue bottle, and you can see I'm not putting a whole lot in there. I think maybe about an inch or so of the paint. Mix it up really well if you have like a stir stick, or I'm just using the back end of a paintbrush because it's what I have handy, and just get it mixed up really well. Don't worry about it looking like it's completely mixed from the outside, because it won't. You can see where it's still got a little bit of a gray color, so I do want to mix it just a little bit more. This is something I would definitely do before you hand the stuff to the kids. I wouldn't encourage the kids to mix the paint and the glue together because it would get messy. You can all, as I'm showing now, because I tend to be a little messy, you can also find little squirt bottles at like a Dollar Tree or a Dollar General and just mix them up in those. They're a little bit smaller. I used those a lot for the kids because it was something easy to prepare and easy for them to hold. So you can shake it up a little bit too. It depends on how running your glue is or how much glue you have in the bottle. If it's about half full, for example, shaking it will often mix the paint enough as well. You want to use a sturdy paper, something that's going to hold up to watercolor paint, something that the glue isn't just going to make super soggy and the paint's not going to make really soggy. We're going to do a little bit of a test strip to make sure it's mixed up well enough. And you can see where you see more white and gray than you see the black pigment. So I'm going to just open it up, give it another good stir. Again, I think because it's a brand new glue bottle and there's so much in there, we're just going to mix it up really well again. And then once that's done, we're going to make sort of a stained glass window effect with this, right? So this is kind of a nice project. You could talk about some symmetry with the kids and explain how to go about doing that, how to create that stained glass effect. And I'm doing a little bit of a close-up here because you can see where there's in that first little bit that I pushed out of the glue bottle, or squeezed out of the glue bottle, that there's still a little bit of more white glue showing, but at this point it is mixed up enough that sort of grayish look will disappear by the time the glue dries. So again, just talking about symmetry, play around with some different curvy shapes, dots, squiggles, whatever the kids want to do. The main thing is you don't want things to get too tiny and detailed, because as the glue dries, it's going to spread out across the paper and puddle up and flatten out a bit. So you want to make sure that there are spaces in between to paint, right? And then we're just going to go in with our watercolor paint once this is dry. Now this took about overnight for it to dry here. I live in the South. It's very hot and it's kind of humid. So it definitely took overnight to dry, and depending on how thick the kids squeeze the paint out onto the paper, it might take a little longer as well. But you want it to be completely dry before you go in with your colors. And with the colors, again, talk about symmetry a little bit. If they want to do symmetrical, if they want to do every shape a different color, that's fine as well. What I like about how this turns out is that because of the black pigment in the glue, even if some of the watercolor brushes over top of the glue paint mixture, it doesn't show up as much as it does when you use just the glue by itself. So you end up with like a kind of a cleaner picture. And also that when you put colors against a black background like that, it just really makes it pop really nicely. So that's just a fun effect, and a lot of the kids really enjoy it and like that. So just filling it in, using all the colors, get creative with it. I talked a little bit in the other videos, my other two videos as well, about paint palettes, and I will link supplies down below as I have been with the other videos if that's helpful to you, especially if you're doing this with camps or groups of kids. It's nice to have those supplies on hand that don't have to cost a ton of money. But individual paint palettes are definitely a good idea if kids are going to be using it more than once. just because that way they're responsible for keeping their palettes clean and not mixing the colors up. It's just a good lesson in being mindful of our materials. I still struggle with that too sometimes, so go easy on them. But that's pretty much it, you guys. So let me know if you do this, and if you like this, subscribe. See you soon.